What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and I'm here with
Gersh1.
And today we're back at it answering your questions in For the Greater WAAAGH.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. That is what?
Johannes Singreith Mayer? Probably butchering that. Sigrelth Mayer. That's German, right? I think so.
Yeah, maybe.
His question is, over the last years, your channel became one of my most favorite on YouTube, and I listen every day to your videos. Sadly, I cannot play Warhammer 40K anymore because I became blind 3.5 years ago. But I follow the story and everything around it. 2 years ago, I started to cosplay, and I became better and better, finding workarounds around my handicap. My goal is that I only cosplay characters that are blind, like Daredevil, Kanan Jarrus, or Chirrut. And the reason I'm writing to my favorite Warhammer gurus on YouTube is, do you know if there's any blind characters in 40K? Doesn't really matter which faction, but I would love to make a future cosplay in one of my favorite universes. I know it's probably difficult because they've got technology that they would use to fix blindness, but maybe I've got luck and you know blind characters.
Right.
Maybe you can even make a video on a character that has not fixed his disabilities in the 40K universe and their reason as to why they won't fix them. Thank you in advance, and please continue the awesome work. Channels like yours help not just regular people to still be part of the community, but also people like me with handicaps.
Oh, that's the sweetest message we've gotten in a while. So, there's actually an entire faction within the Imperium that you can cosplay as. Well, two factions, I guess. I don't really know how it's distributed. But there is astropaths and navigators.
Right.
Now, they're blind, kind of. So, a navigator is a mutant human who has a third eye that allows him to see into the warp. Because that mutation has been bred within them, they basically have inbred. They do inbreeding a lot. A lot of different mutations that are negative have occurred within that family. The navigator families are called, and sometimes they're simple, like just basic, like they have weird jaws or they have like nasty skin, stuff like that. But like some of them just go completely blind other than their third eye. Now they can't see with their third eye to normal people, or they can't just like expose their third eye, because if somebody sees their third eye, they die. They have the potential to die. There's actually one of the psychic powers that they have, right?
Mm-hmm.
I forget what it's called. We even have a 40 Facts video on it. You've done the psychic powers, right?
Yeah.
But basically, these navigators are used as
Kind of like lighthouses, like beacons to guide the ships in the tumultuous warp to get to their destination.
Yeah, so that when they go into the warp, they can actually spot the Astronomicon of the Emperor, and guide the ship to a certain exit point or whatever. Right. So they are vital to the point where they have a seat in the High Lords of Terra. It's a very respected seat, and they're probably some of the most crucial members of the Imperium of Man within the bureaucracy and everything.
Right. They are essential for travel and for keeping the Imperium going. Because think about it, if you don't have any of these guys on your ship, you're basically sailing blind whenever you do warp travel.
Yep.
And warp travel is essential for getting materials from one planet to another, sending troops from one side of the galaxy to the other, so it's essential.
Yep. And then most of the fan art does have them. Their eyes are usually closed or gone completely, and it's just they usually have like a bandana. Think of like the Naruto stuff, where like they have the
like the headbands and stuff covering the eyes. And
yep. So it's like a headband, and it's sealed with some type of metallic piece, because that's in Naruto, right? Like
yeah, they
like
got
a
that
metallic
metal.
little thing.
Yeah.
And that's also supposed to shield them from like even more like powers that just shoot out from the forehead. And yeah, so they're blind. Their third eye is always hidden because if exposed, they would kill people. Mm-hmm. And then the astropaths are similar to the navigators. They don't have a third eye, but they do perceive things through the emotions of the warp. So they don't need the regular 5 senses that we have, because they can read emotions.
Right.
And then with that, they can read the tides of the warp. So if they see like a huge tidal wave of like, I don't know, evil, chaos, whatever, they would be able to tell the navigator, they would be able to tell the ship captain, and then they would maneuver through it.
Right.
And also receive astropathic messages. Check out our 40 facts on the inner, or just 40 facts on the astropaths. It's an old video, but it has like the core rules of it.
Yeah. As for named characters, though, I can't think of any off the top of my head that are blind. You could, if you're making your own like chaos faction, that could be a mutation that they got, or like a sacrifice that they gave for their chaos god. Maybe they pledged their servitude to Zeech for stronger psychic powers, but he took their sight. So you could play around with that idea.
Which I think there is one. Isn't there one of the... Damn, I might have to look it up. I think there is a demon. Like there's like a blue demon that doesn't have eyes. He also has a headband, so I wonder if he has a third eye. But yeah. And then you just reminded me of something. Oh, dreadnoughts. I memean, dreadnoughts technically, like they are using augmetic, like, what are they called? Augers?
Yeah.
To perceive things. So it's not, because it's a sarcophagus, so they're inside of a sealed sarcophagus. And everything is being neural implanted. Oh, I guess knights would be the same thing.
Yeah, when you think about it, yeah.
I don't know how you would cosplay as a knight, because you're just a human, and I don't think you can fit an entire knight into like a Comic-Con thing. But
Yet.
Right.
But I mean, there's no Comic-Con right now, so I guess you could just chill outside in your Gundam mech suit.
Basically, yeah. Well, I hope we helped.
Yeah, I know. It sucks to hear, but it's good that you're working to fight past your disability and, still in the hobby and looking at things on the bright side.
Right.
Thanks for that question, but let's move on to J.S. Culture. If Catan are completely unrelated to the warp, then what's up with the whole soul consumption thing? How does it work? What's a soul to a Catan if they are the anathema to the warp?
Food. It's like what's meat to us? Mm-hmm. Energy.
It's like what's a goon to a goblin?
Nothing. Old Little Wayne. If only you hadn't endorsed Trump. But yeah, just food.
Yeah, I mean, they just want energy to eat. Stars was one thing. Souls was another. Tomatoes, potatoes.
Think of the Mandalorian and how the Mandalorian helped the what are the things called with the hoods? Not
Jawas?
the sand. The Jawas, and then he also helped the Sand People to collect those eggs, one from the rhino thing and one from the giant worm. And what did they do to the little pearl or the little egg? They ate it. That's it. Oh, spoiler alert.
This one is by Doc Halliday Gaming. Do you think that GW will bring back Layman Rust? I believe you mean Lemon Roux, Lehman Russ.
Yes, of course. He's a Space Wolf.
I think he's one of the more popular Primarchs, because a lot of people like Space Wolves. So I would assume that means a lot of people like Russ. And Russ was always willing to get into a scrap with anybody. So it's like, you could bring him in at any time. He's going to fight whoever you point him at.
Yep. Or lick him.
That too.
Because he's big into eating. This question comes from GC. What is the worst weapon to have in the 40K universe? Las pistols.
Even then, they're pretty good.
Well, compared to a regular gun, sure.
Yeah, but in 40K settings,
yeah.
They're basically flashlights.
They're strength 3?
Yeah.
Strength 3.
But
Come on.
Because that's used to fight against low toughness enemies, like Eldar Guardians and Ripper Swarms and Nurglings.
And that's it.
That's it, yeah.
No Space Marines, no Primaris, no Orcs, no Warriors, no... what's a Fire Warrior's toughness?
I think it is 3, yeah.
Oh, okay, so you could kill Fire Warriors.
But anything has a chance to kill anything in 9th edition. He
roll
rolls those 6s. I was going to say the... what's that thing called? No, because that's still pretty good. It's like that ring that the Jakara weaponsmith makes.
Oh, yeah. Because it's a one-time thing, but you can really hurt people with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually the weapon is strong strength, high AP.
Strong strength.
Strong strength. I feel like it's one of those. You remember Power Thirst?
Mm-hmm.
Those, yeah.
Yeah. Who can forget?
Minergy. Next question.
This one is by George Babagiannis. Has Drago came back after the Psychic Awakening? Technically, yes and no. He hasn't left the clutches of the warp. Like, he can be thrust into real space, help out his bros, and then he's gonna get sucked back in. Yeah. So he'll be there when needed, when the lore wants him to, when the writers need him. But I think that's his gimmick. Like, he's so strong and so pivotal that he is a game changer, but he's not gonna be here all the time.
Yeah. This next question comes from Harry Tubeman. Who has more authority, a chapter master or a Death Watch commander? That's a good question because the Death Watch commander, there are a lot of Death Watch commanders, but the people under their command are a lot fewer than a chapter master. A chapter master usually has 10 companies or more. But I think the thing about a Death Watch commander is that he is very specialized to fighting Xenos. So if he's out there, it is because he knows what he's doing. So hopefully it would be a Death Watch commander, but not always, because Space Marines are autonomous, and it's just like an honor, like who has the biggest dick type of situation.
When they don't even have dicks.
I know. They can't even
yet, unless you're Slaneshi.
Right.
This one's by Aming Mac 905. What would your advice be for someone who is just learning to paint minis? Also, what are your opinions on people using 3D and resin printers to make custom minis, like those Aztec Marines?
I haven't heard of that. Share the link, bro. I've been trying to make an Aztec Space Marine for a while. So
beginning to paint, what are some tips?
My first tip is the wash is always going to fix everything. So if you're painting a mini and it looks trash, wait until you apply the wash. The wash is going to make it look so much better. Even if you think the color combinations that you have look trash, you add that wash, it like unifies the two colors, kind of, unless you have like a really weird combination. But even like if you do like red and yellow, like it's going to look good once you apply the wash. So I would say wait till the wash is done, dried and everything.
One that I've never used, but I should, because every time I paint minis, which isn't often, it always hits me right after the fact, is don't assemble it and then paint it. Do it piece by piece, because that makes things easier. You can get into like crevices better.
Yep.
Less chance of you messing up. Because I know if there's a regular Space Marine with a gun like this, you're going to want to have to get inside here to paint the inside of the gun. Sometimes you're going to get like the chest and the Achilla, so.
Right, yep. Unless you're trying to be quick.
True.
Like tabletop ready. But yeah.
Then it don't matter.
Right. And then you had a second part, didn't you?
Oh yeah. What are your opinions on 3D printing and resin printers?
Oh, it's good. Do it. Buy one. It's the wave of the future.
The wave?
Of the future.
Hang time, dude.
And they're really good for terrain pieces too. You have like downloadable terrain pieces, so you should take advantage of that. This next question comes from Jim McHugh. Has the Emperor always been xenophobic? Was there ever a time when the Emperor thought about working with enslaved xeno races? He's always been pretty xenophobic, but like he's okay with abhumans.
Yeah, for the most part.
That's about it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what else is there to say?
Next question.
This one's by Erock9. GW comes to you saying that it's time for female Space Marines. Trigger alert! I died. I can't take it. Female Space Marines. Not in this household. And they want your input. How would you make her a unique and sellable figure? Her backstory, a prototype maybe? Would she have the ability to launch cherubs from her very special Space Marine organ? Or is a whole female Space Marine idea garbage? Lore-wise, the chromosomes aren't compatible for the gene seed. So that's why we don't see female Space Marines. However, there is a ton of gray area to play around with. There could always be different gene seed. It could always be one of the lost Primarchs. You can always have an alternate universe, or maybe some genetic mutation that happened, or maybe it's Slaaneshi infected Marines that became female.
Yeah, what I would do is I would tell GW, okay, so like if you're gonna do this and like you're set on it, then take advantage of one of the lost Primarchs. Well, that Primarch will be a woman, and that Primarch would have the gene seed to make females into like Space Marines. And then on top of that, make it harder for female Space Marines to exist, but make them better.
Right.
To the point where these female Space Marines were already like Primaris Marines. And the reason the Emperor pushed them away was because of how unlikely it was that they would pass their, what is it called? Where the gene seed gets implanted.
The gene seed implantation process?
Yeah, that. So, like, make it so that it's super, super hard, and make it so that, you're not supposed to flick it, you're supposed to massage it. And then once they become these female Space Marines, it's not 10 companies, it'll probably just be like one company, but these female Space Marines are stronger, well, equal to, or if not stronger than Primaris Marines, right off the bat.
Yeah, because if they're just regular, like, Loyalist Marines, like the Firstborn, then I feel like that's not a really sellable army because, again, Primaris are going to have better armor, weapons, that kind of thing. And also, where are they currently in the lore?
Right.
Because, again, how do they get their armor? How are they able to manufacture gene seed and all that? So that's something that also has to be established. But I think the biggest thing, though, is that they got to be completely unique, where they're not stepping into the lore of the Sisters of Battle or the Sisters of Silence.
Which would be hard.
Yeah.
I think that's a really hard one, just because the Sisters of Battle have done, like, they're badass.
Mm-hmm.
I like them.
The models are really good looking,
Yeah.
except the faces. But no, I always like helmeted models anyway.
Yeah.
So it's definitely doable. I'm not 100% against the grain when it comes to female Marines. But again, lore-wise, it's stated that, yeah, gene seed is not compatible with the X and the Y chromosomes.
And make them wear less armor. More fan art with less armor.
But that's not scientifically correct, Gershwin.
Well, what would be cool, it's like, you know how like the chest of a Space Marine gets sealed off because it just becomes one giant, like we don't have, or Space Marines don't have rib cages, they
It's
have
all just fused.
one solid, yeah. So it'd be the same thing, but with their boobs. So they have
one
mega
boob?
No, they have two regular boobs, but they're mega boobs, meaning that you could shoot at them and it wouldn't hurt them. So then they can wear those little like tassels.
Oh. I think that was like a story I heard somewhere. I think it was like on that one like Spike TV show, 1,000 Places or 1,000 Ways to Die. Like somebody got shot and she had implants and the implant saved her because they were like huge implants.
Oh wow! So it's like a.
But I mean, it's a
rubber
freaking bolt round. How's that gonna deflect?
That's true. But I'm just saying, like, it would solidify, so they wouldn't be jiggly.
So it's like bulletproof armor, like Kevlar.
Right, kind of like in Austin Power Goldmember, I think, or Austin Power the first one.
Yeah.
Where she just shoots.
The Spy Who Shagged Me.
I wouldn't want the bolters to be stuck in there, because I still want them to have bolters. I just want less clothing.
So what you're saying is, let's just make some Slaaneshi Marines.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Make those Space Marines corrupted by Slaanesh, so that they were actually men. They were after the process. They were men, but then became female Space Marines because of Slaanesh, and then that pushes you towards 2021.
I mean, they already started putting out Slaaneshi models for Age of Sigmar.
Yeah. So throw in like a couple crab claws.
Yeah, and you good.
You good?
Yeah. Did we talk about why crab claws are Slaaneshi at all?
Yeah, they're biologically immortal.
Mm-hmm. The crab claws.
Perfection. Yep.
Yes.
Next question.
This one's by Troy Masters. What kind of Space Marine is stronger? A named Space Marine with the ability to withstand psychic influence, or a named Librarian Rune Priest with loads of psychic powers? It seems like being able to withstand power is more important than actually having it in 40K. If you could withstand power, that's good because you can't die from like smite. But if you're not good offensively, then you can't kill the psyker that's doing these psychic powers. So I'd say the librarian with a bunch of powers.
Agreed. Because Rune Priest is very like one-sided. It's just Space Wolves.
But at the same time, like Khorne has a relic that nullifies psychic powers, so you can't target him with psychic abilities.
Yeah, but that'd be to both, right? The librarian and the Rune Priest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, please comment down below. Thank you guys so much for sending those questions our way. And female Space Marines, hopefully in the future.
Sound Alchemist,
Tirishwan.
and we are out.
Oh, I did this with my